So welcome to episode 11. Got a lot going on. Yeah, a lot of parts came in, so we can make some big steps forward now. Got a few things done that I can show you right away. Made a few steps forward, but also it has a few steps backwards. Unfortunately, that stuff seems to happen. You know, normally when I build a vehicle like this, you'll assemble, disassemble multiple times, just mocking everything up. We're trying to get this one done quicker. I thought I could make some full-time or some permanent work in the beginning, and ended up that interfered with some other stuff when other parts came in. So I'll show you that in just a second here. Yeah, so got it up in the air. I can show you some things I did on it, and I'll show you what came in and what we're going to be doing throughout this video. So let me grab the camera and we'll take a look at it. So as you can see, we have a drive shaft. Got this from Southwest Speed. Hard to beat their price. I talked to some local shops about having one built, and boy, these guys had one in stock, ready to go, shipped to my door for a really good price. So we'll see how it does, see if it have any vibrations. It's pretty long. They did send me the wrong U-joint or U-bolts for the back, so I got it duct taped up in there right now just to make sure everything looks good. Looks like I got about 1 inch of slip here. You can kind of see the mark maybe right by my finger there. So that should be right. I'm almost thinking it could have been about 1/4 inch longer, but that should be all right. So yeah, got that in. I'll just pick up some U-bolts locally probably. And then on the back, got tail lights in it. Get a shot, you see them both. Just made some brackets up for those. Pretty basic. And then I also mounted up in the bed rails a brake light up in there. So yeah, now I got the connectors too, so I'll make these connections for the tail lights and license plate light, get all that wired up. Up front, I did get a little bit of wiring done. We got the wires to the distributor done, and to the starter. Got those on, although I do have to move this one. That belongs on the other connector. Or, I'm sorry, this one here needs to be moved. I don't know if we can get a better view of that. Nope, not really. So that's what we've got done on the vehicle. So let me take you over here. Here's some more stuff that came in. So we'll start with a little one. Here's the proportioning valve and distribution block for the brakes, with the brake light in it. Picked up a low car 23-inch shifter with a black knob, trying to keep it looking retro. Also went with the low car shift indicator kit. We still have to buy the indicator lights. And then here's the install kit for the shifter. And for gauges, these seemed like the best bargain out there I could find. These Autometer, I think they're 1350 was the set number. Really nice retro look and decent price. They weren't cheap. If you're looking at these for your truck, they say 5-inch, but they're only 4 5/8. So you do need this adapter kit to fit them into these old Chevys. I've just got a bunch of connectors. Stuff came in, and I'm not sure if I showed you this. Came in a while ago. There's our carpet for it. So plan is to get. Oh, one more thing. If you'll notice when I was showing you the drive shaft, the exhaust is removed. So I thought I had plenty of clearance with my exhaust up above the drive shaft here, but the X pipe was clear and only a quarter to a half inch here, and that's with the truck up in the air and the rear end hanging. So I had to pull that out. I'm hoping I can relocate the X pipe a little farther forward, but I'm worried about the shift linkage, so I'm going to get the shifter in first. I should have gone with a cable shift, then it wouldn't be an issue, but I didn't. And I can buy an adapter kit to do with cables, and that may still happen. But for now, I'm going to just see if I can shift it. I'll get the shifter installed first. You know, exhaust should have been done later. I was just trying to get done what I could at the time. So we'll figure it out. I think the tailpipes and all are still okay. I'm just going to have to shift stuff around. And if I have to go switch to an H pipe, make my own H pipe instead of X, we can do that. But yeah, you know, it's one thing. You trying to get this done in a time frame and got ahead of ourselves. But that stuff happens. I'm not paying me by the hour, so. All right, now I suppose I can get to work on this, and I think first line of business is going to be the shifter. We put the seat back in, make sure we got good clearance there. We're not hitting the seat or the dash when we locate the shifter. So I'll get that in, and we'll see how that looks, and maybe move on to the exhaust right away or brake lines, get that brake switch mounted. So, all right, hey, thanks. We'll keep at it. We'll be back in a bit. So I got the shift cable. I ended up going to that conversion. The angle between the shift lever here on the tranny and the lever coming off the shifter was just too tight. Shifter's too far forward. So ended up going with the cable, and I think that'll actually help with the exhaust. So it's all right, but that's all in. I just got to adjust the neutral safety switch. I do want to add something here. I put this plate here. This is just a big flat panel he had riveted and screwed in, and it should have like some bead rolls or something in it, but he already had all the sound deadener and everything glued down, so I tried to go with it, but it still flexes even with that plate on there. You know, I got the plate bolted from the top to the floor there, and then the shifter bolts holding it up in the front here. So I may end up coming off these angles he's got from each side and putting some bracing across there just to make the shifter more solid. It wants to rock a little in the floor. But otherwise, that's all in. Ready to go. I did get bolts for the drive shaft, so that's in now. Also ran a bunch of the loom for the wiring. I'm kind of running out of light over here, but I'll have to get hangers. They should be coming here pretty quick to attach the wires. There's the wires coming down to the starter. Got them all in loom. Same with everything up on the firewall, going down to the distributor and over to the alternator. Just waiting for hangers for all that. And so now, like I say, I'll adjust the neutral safety switch and then get to work on the exhaust. Get that back in. Oh, I had to blow a hole through the cross member here to get a good angle with the shift cable. It's kind of binding and going over the top, and obviously I didn't want it hanging below. So this worked out really nice coming through there. So, all right, I'm going to keep at her. Okay, we got the shifter canal connected, got the low car shift indicator cable connected up also. And if we go over to this side, cable running under here, ran that through the same hole as the shifter, and it comes over to here. There's the indicator box sensor, and then that wire will be run up. I'll probably tie that along with the transmission dipstick tube, run that up to the top and into the cab. I also got the exhaust clearance issue taken care of. I got plenty of clearance now there. I moved the X pipe back. I had to do some pie cuts and stuff up in here. Not real happy with it. It looks all right. I mean, it lines up okay. Just the X isn't centered like it was. It was just perfectly centered. And it's also a little too close to the cable up there for the shifter. So I'm going to have to put a heat shield in there, or maybe some header wrap on the pipe and the cable, protect them. But I also got the drive shaft bolted in the back. I had to move these mounts for the exhaust, move them from up here, and to trim them down, and moved them back here, so I got a solid mount here instead of a strap. But I still got real good clearance between the shocks and the fuel cell, and still good and level and even at the bumper. So yeah, exhaust is done, shifter's all connected, everything's done underneath here. Now I'm still just waiting for clamps to run this loom up, clamp it in place. So yeah, now I'll go up and do some wiring in the cab and maybe get the gauges in. So I got kind of a mess in here doing the wiring. As you can see, I got the carpet in. Did have another little chuck up. If you look back here, I ordered a carpet with that came for a cab that still has a gas tank in it. So we used this more like a trunk carpet you see in the modern cars. Put some of that back there, and we'll also be putting some up under the firewall here. But otherwise, yeah, it seems like nice carpet. We got the wiring for all the signals and ignition and dimmer and all that is all wired in. I got the bezels in for the gauges, and then we put in the dash here indicators for high beam and left and right signal. Let's see what else we got up in here. Oh, there's a parking brake. We might try to make this thing work. Hook up to the parking brake cable on the rear end. That's about it up here. I do have to figure something out with this part of the column, because you have to turn this to unlock and let the key lock and unlock. So I think next year we'll be putting a new column in it. Probably get an I did it or something like that. That's about all I got done here. So now next step is get the battery mounted. I believe I can put it underneath, just up in front of that muffler by the X. It won't fit in the factory location under the floor because the S10 frame is in the way there. So we'll try up underneath there and see if that works. All right, I'm gonna get at it. So I built this framework for the battery box. I'll put tin bottom and around it. This is just to give it some beef and strength to mount it up underneath the cab there. But speaking of mounting it up under the cab, let me walk you over here. Get underneath here. So plan was to go right up here. So let me get this in place. Something like this, which, let me zoom back out here. It does fit, but there ain't no way to get a battery into it. So this plan is not going to work. I'm going to have to look around. I was thinking about trying to mount it somewhere up in the front, by the engine compartment. I would like to put it right over the drive shaft up here, but then I'd have to put a hump in the floor or box it in, and we don't want it up in the bed. So got to do some thinking, try and figure it out. All right, so an idea I had was to lower the fuel pressure regulator and mount this up into here, which seemed like it would work until I realized that's where the heater has to be. And the lines are right through there, you can see. So that ain't gonna work. So I looked at putting it up here in front of the tire. I actually can hang this on there. Seems pretty good, but the truck isn't sitting all the way on its suspension. It's just too close to the tire here. So what I'm going to end, this is where I think it's going to go. But I ended up making up some pieces here, and I'll cut this out and build it out like so. That allows me to move that battery box up about 2 inches or more, and a little bit more in towards the motor. This will be the top. It'll stay. There we go. So yeah, I'll be boxing it in basically like that. I think this is going to be the final resting place. Just got to cut that out and get everything welded in, and then I have to make a brace coming up off the frame to the battery box, and then I'll just tie it into this front panel here. I may run a diagonal brace down to the frame along there also, just because I don't know if I want to hang that whole weight of the battery off this inner fender. Probably would be strong enough once everything's bolted together. I don't know if I showed you the brake lines yet. Got them run. This is the line to the back brakes, line to the front. Got the proportioning valve. Had to put a plug in here right now because the brake light switch for the trouble light wouldn't fit with these fittings I have here. I'll have to put like an extension or something to mount it up here, but we don't have an idiot light anyway right now, so just plugged it. What was holding me up on the brake lines was this hose here. I just couldn't find a fitting that would go into it. Well, it turned out the old threads inside there were so galled, they were just wrecking it, so I just bought a new hose. So we got all the brake lines run, and I'll get that battery in, and then we'll be ready, I think, to fire it up. I've said that before, haven't I? I'm not lying to you. I'm trying. All right. Thanks a lot. All right. So I still need some shaping to do before I weld in, but this is kind of what it's coming out like. Looks like I'll have plenty of room to get the battery in. I've got good clearance there at the tire. It's a good 4 inches at least. That's with the full weight of the vehicle sitting on the right now. Had to do a little work up in the corner here. Patch that in too, but yeah, I think that's going to work. This fender was pretty rough anyway. I've got to patch in a lot of this under here. Don't need all that cut out there, and replace the flange along the edge to stiffen it up. I thought I might have to do some stiffening up on this because I did have to cut where these beads are to give it some strength around the corners. But once I attach that battery box, I think that'll give it all the strength it needs. Now it's just a matter of whether I weld it or bolt it. Welding's a lot faster and easier, but I think I'm going to bolt it. So yeah, I think we're on the right track finally. So I think I'm gonna end up calling the video here. I don't know if I'll get this done in time. I'd like to get this video out. So we get back to the next video, we'll see it completed, undercoated and painted and all ready to rip. All right, thanks a lot. I hope you're enjoying and watching till the end. Obviously, if you heard this, you did. But thanks a lot, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.